The sun rises slowly over a small, dusty village nestled between rolling hills and cracked, dry fields. The air carries the faint hum of early morning life, chickens clucking, a distant cart creaking, and the soft chatter of villagers starting their day. The camera pans across weathered wooden houses, their paint peeling under the relentless sun, and children running barefoot through narrow alleys. This is a place where life is simple, but not easy. It is a place where dreams are often buried under the weight of survival. In the heart of this village lives a girl named Lily, a 12-year-old with eyes that hold both hope and hardship. Lily is an orphan, her parents lost to a fever that swept through the village years ago. She lives with her elderly aunt, Martha, in a cramped, one-room house with a leaky roof. The camera zooms in on Lily as she sweeps the dirt floor, her small hands gripping a broom that is almost as tall as she is. Her clothes are patched and faded, but her face carries a quiet determination. Every morning, she wakes before dawn to help Martha with chores, her thin frame moving with purpose. But her real dream, the one she whispers to herself at night, is to go to school, to learn to read and write, to escape the cycle of poverty that traps so many in her village. Lily's life is a constant balancing act. She earns a few coins by selling wildflowers she picks from the fields, carefully tying them into bundles to sell at the market. It is not much, but it is enough to buy bread and sometimes a bit of rice for her and Martha. The camera follows her as she walks barefoot through the market, her basket of flowers swinging lightly at her side. Her smile is bright as she greets the vendors, but there is a weight behind it. Every coin she earns is a step closer to her dream of school, but it is a dream that feels impossibly far away. The local school, a small building with chipped walls and a single teacher, requires a fee small by some standards, but a fortune for someone like Lily. She has been saving for months, hiding her coins in a tin box under a loose floorboard, counting them in secret when Martha is asleep. One day, as Lily walks through the market, she notices something unusual. An old man sits in the shade of a crumbling wall, his clothes tattered and his face weathered by time and hardship. His name is Thomas, though Lily does not know that yet. To her, he is just another soul struggling to survive, like so many others in the village. His hands tremble as he holds out a chipped cup, asking for spare change. The camera lingers on his face lined with wrinkles, his eyes clouded with exhaustion but holding a flicker of something deeper, something unspoken. Most people pass him by without a glance, their own struggles too heavy to spare kindness for a stranger. But Lily stops. She looks at Thomas, really looks at him, and something in her heart stirs. She hesitates, her hand brushing against the small pouch where she keeps her flour money. The coins inside are precious, each one a piece of her dream. But the man before her looks so frail, so alone. The camera captures her internal struggle. Her brows furrow, her lips press together, and her fingers tighten around the pouch. Then, in a moment of quiet resolve, she reaches into the pouch and pulls out a few coins. Not all of them, but enough to make a difference for Thomas. She kneels beside him, her small hand gently placing the coins in his cup. "For you," she says softly, her voice barely above a whisper. Thomas looks up, startled, his eyes meeting hers. For a moment, the world seems to pause, just the two of them, a girl with nothing and a man with even less, connected by a simple act of kindness. Lily does not know it, but this moment will change her life. The camera pulls back, showing the bustling market around them, oblivious to the quiet miracle unfolding in its midst. Thomas watches her walk away, clutching the coins as if they are more than just money, as if they are a lifeline. There is something in his expression, a mix of gratitude and something deeper, something hidden. The music swells, soft and hopeful, but with a hint of mystery. Who is this man? And why does his gaze linger on Lily as she disappears into the crowd? As Lily returns home, the weight of her decision settles in. She lifts the loose floorboard and opens her tin box, counting the remaining coins. There are not many left. Her dream of school feels further away than ever, and a pang of doubt creeps in. Did she make a mistake? Should she have kept the money for herself? The camera zooms in on her face, capturing the flicker of worry in her eyes, but also the stubborn spark of hope that refuses to fade. She tucks the box away and lies down on her thin mat, staring at the ceiling as the light fades outside. She does not regret helping Thomas, but she can't help wondering what it will cost her. Meanwhile, across the country in a gleaming city of glass and steel, a man named James sits in a high-rise office. He is a billionaire, a tech mogul whose name is known far beyond the village where Lily lives. The camera pans across his office, sleek, modern, filled with awards and framed articles about his success. But James's face is drawn, his eyes tired. He is searching for something, or someone, though the audience does not know what yet. A photograph on his desk catches the light, a faded picture of a younger James with an older man who bears a striking resemblance to Thomas. The music shifts, taking on a somber tone, hinting at a story untold. Back in the village, word of Lily's kindness begins to spread. A vendor who saw her give her coins to Thomas mentions it to another, and soon the story ripples through the market. That orphan girl, they say, gave what little she had to a beggar. Some shake their heads, calling her foolish. Others smile, touched by her selflessness. But no one knows the full weight of what she has done, not yet. The camera lingers on the village at dusk, the sky painted in hues of orange and purple, as if the world itself is holding its breath for what comes next. Lily's act of kindness was small, but it has set something in motion, something bigger than she could ever imagine. As she drifts off to sleep, the tin box of coins still light in her hands, the audience is left with a question. Who was that man? And what does he mean to the world beyond the village? The music fades, leaving a gentle hum of anticipation, pulling the viewer into the heart of the story. The village wakes to another day, the sun casting long shadows across the dusty streets. Lily is up early as always, her basket of wildflowers slung over her shoulder. The camera follows her as she moves through the market, her steps a little heavier today. The coins she gave to Thomas yesterday weigh on her mind, not because she regrets it, but because the tin box under the floorboard feels emptier than ever. She smiles at the vendors, but there is a quiet tension in her eyes. Her dream of school, once so close, now feels like a distant star. The market buzzes with its usual chaos, vendors shouting, children darting between stalls, the smell of fresh bread mingling with the dust in the air. But something is different today. People are talking about Lily. The camera catches snippets of their conversations. She gave her money to that old beggar, one woman says, shaking her head. Foolish girl, mutters a man selling fruit. But others disagree. She has got a heart bigger than her pockets, says an elderly vendor, her eyes soft with admiration. The story of Lily's kindness is spreading, like a pebble dropped in a pond, sending ripples through the village. Lily does not notice the whispers at first. She is too focused on selling her flowers, hoping to earn back even a fraction of what she gave away. But as she moves through the market, she feels eyes on her. A woman buying flowers slips an extra coin into her hand, saying nothing but offering a warm smile. A man who usually ignores her stops to buy a bundle, his gruff voice softer than usual. The camera zooms in on Lily's puzzled expression. She does not understand why people are being kinder today. But the audience knows. Her small act of generosity is touching hearts, even if she can't see it yet. Meanwhile, Thomas, the old man Lily helped, is back in his usual spot by the crumbling wall. The camera lingers on him, his tattered coat pulled tight against the morning chill. The coins Lily gave him are gone, spent on a meager meal. But his eyes carry a new light. He watches the market with a quiet intensity, as if searching for something or someone. The audience catches glimpses of his past in subtle flashbacks. A younger Thomas, laughing with a boy who looks strikingly like James, the billionaire from the city. The music weaves in a haunting melody, hinting at a life left behind, a story waiting to be uncovered. Lily's day takes an unexpected turn when she overhears two vendors talking about Thomas. He is not from here, one says. Showed up a few months ago, never says much. The other nods, lowering his voice. Heard he used to be somebody important, before he fell on hard times. Lily pauses, her basket heavy in her hands. She does not know why, but the words stick with her. Who is Thomas, really? The camera captures her curiosity, her eyes narrowing as she glances toward the old man in the distance. That evening, Lily sits with Martha in their small house, the flicker of a single candle casting shadows on the walls. Martha, her hands gnarled from years of work, notices the change in Lily's mood. What is troubling you, child? She asks, her voice gentle but firm. Lily hesitates, then tells her about Thomas, about the coins. The market whispers, the strange feeling she can't shake. Martha listens quietly, her eyes thoughtful. You did a good thing, Lily, she says finally. But be careful. Not everyone is what they seem. The camera lingers on Martha's face, her words carrying a weight that hints at secrets she may know but is not ready to share. Far away in the city, James is growing restless. The camera pans across his office, where papers and photographs are scattered across his desk. He has been searching for his father, Thomas, for years, ever since a falling out drove them apart. The billionaire's wealth can buy almost anything, but it can't find the one person who matters most. A private investigator sits across from him, delivering news, a lead in a small village, a sighting of an old man matching Thomas's description. James's jaw tightens, his eyes flickering with hope and fear. The camera zooms in on the photograph of Thomas and a young James, a reminder of the bond they once shared. Back in the village, Lily's curiosity about Thomas grows. She starts watching him more closely, noticing small details, the way he holds himself, with a quiet dignity despite his ragged clothes, the way he mutters to himself, as if lost in memories. One day she approaches him again, this time with a small bundle of flowers. These are for you, she says, her voice shy but steady. Thomas looks up, surprised, and for a moment, his guarded expression softens. He takes the flowers, his hands trembling slightly. Why do you help me, girl? He asks, his voice rough but kind. Lily shrugs, a small smile playing on her lips. Because you needed it. The exchange is brief, but it deepens the mystery. The camera catches Thomas clutching the flowers, his eyes distant, as if Lily's kindness has stirred something long buried. The music shifts, blending hope with tension, as the audience wonders, what is Thomas hiding, and how does it connect to Lily's act of kindness? As the days pass, Lily's life becomes a delicate balance of hope and struggle. She keeps selling flowers, but the tin box under the floorboard remains stubbornly light. Her dream of school feels like it is slipping away, and doubt begins to creep in. Yet the village is changing around her. People start to treat her differently, not with pity, but with respect. A baker gives her a loaf of bread for free. A tailor offers to mend her dress. The camera captures these small moments, each one a testament to the ripple effect of her generosity. But the story is far from over. In the city, James makes a decision. He packs a bag, his face set with determination, and heads for the village. The camera follows him as he steps out of his sleek car and into the dusty streets, a stranger in a world far removed from his own. The music swells, building tension as the pieces of the puzzle begin to come together. Lily, unaware of the storm approaching, continues her routine, her heart still tethered to her dream and to the mysterious old man who has become a quiet part of her life. The camera pulls back, showing the village bathed in the golden light of late afternoon. Lily walks home, her basket lighter than her heart. Thomas sits by his wall, the flowers she gave him tucked into his coat. And James, miles away but drawing closer, carries a photograph that holds the key to everything. The story is building toward something big, something that will change everything Lily knows. The village hums with its usual rhythm, but there is an undercurrent of change in the air. The camera sweeps across the market, where Lily weaves through the crowd, her basket of flowers nearly empty. She is tired today, her steps slower than usual. The weight of her sacrifice, giving her precious coins to Thomas, has settled deep in her chest. She has not given up on her dream of school, but it feels like a mountain too high to climb. Yet, her face still carries that stubborn spark of hope, the kind that refuses to be snuffed out by hardship. The camera shifts to Thomas, sitting in his familiar spot by the crumbling wall. He is quieter today, his eyes scanning the market with a mix of wariness and anticipation. The flowers Lily gave him are still tucked into his coat, their petals wilting but carefully preserved. He clutches them like a lifeline, his fingers tracing their edges. The audience catches another flashback. Thomas in better days, standing beside a young James in a bustling city, both of them laughing. The contrast is stark then and now. Wealth and poverty, connection and isolation. The music weaves in a bittersweet melody, hinting at a past filled with both love and loss. Lily, unaware of Thomas's history, continues her routine. But something feels different. The villagers' whispers have grown louder, their glances more frequent. A woman selling vegetables pulls Lily aside, pressing a small bag of rice into her hands. "You are a good soul, child," she says, her voice warm. Lily blinks, confused but grateful. The camera captures her small smile, tinged with uncertainty. She does not know why the village seems to be rallying around her, but it lifts her spirits, if only a little. Meanwhile, James arrives in the village. The camera follows him as he steps out of his car, his polished shoes sinking into the dusty road. He looks out of place in his tailored suit, his face a mix of determination and nervousness. He has been searching for his father for years, following leads that always ended in dead ends. Now, standing in this small, forgotten village, he feels closer to the truth than ever. He carries the faded photograph of him and Thomas, its edges worn from years of handling. The camera zooms in on his face as he asks a vendor about an old man who begs by the wall. The vendor points toward Thomas, and James's heart skips a beat. The tension builds as James approaches Thomas. The camera alternates between their perspectives. James, his steps quickening, his eyes locked on the frail figure ahead. Thomas, unaware, staring at the ground, lost in thought. When James finally reaches him, the music cuts to silence. "Dad," James says, his voice breaking. Thomas looks up, his eyes wide with shock. For a moment, neither speaks. The camera lingers on their faces, James's filled with hope and pain, Thomas's with disbelief and shame. "James," Thomas whispers, his voice barely audible. The reunion is raw, messy, real. The audience feels the weight of years apart, of unspoken regrets and lost time. Back at the market, Lily is finishing her sales when she overhears a commotion. Curious, she follows the crowd to where James and Thomas stand, now surrounded by curious villagers. The camera captures her confusion as she watches the scene unfold. James is kneeling beside Thomas, his hand on his father's shoulder, speaking in a low, urgent voice. Thomas's eyes are wet, his hands shaking as he grips the flowers Lily gave him. The villagers murmur, piecing together fragments of the story. The beggar is no ordinary man, he is the father of a billionaire. Lily's heart races. She does not understand the full story, but she feels the weight of it. The camera zooms in on her face as she steps closer, her basket forgotten at her side. James notices her, his eyes catching the flowers in Thomas's hand. "Where did you get those?" he asks his father, his voice gentle but curious. Thomas looks at Lily, his expression softening. "From her," he says, nodding toward the girl. "She is the one who helped me, gave me her coins, her flowers, her kindness." James turns to Lily, his gaze piercing but kind. The camera captures the moment their eyes meet, a billionaire and an orphan, worlds apart but connected by a single act. "You helped my father?" James asks, his voice thick with emotion. Lily nods, her throat tight. She is nervous, unsure what this means. The villagers fall silent, watching the exchange. The music creeps back in, soft and hopeful, as James kneels to meet Lily's eyes. "What is your name?" he asks. Lily, she whispers, her voice trembling. The truth begins to unravel. James explains, his voice steady but filled with emotion, that Thomas is his father, a man who vanished years ago after a family rift. He would been searching for him ever since, never imagining he would find him in a village like this, living as a beggar. The camera flashes back to Thomas's past, a successful man who lost everything to pride and mistakes, too ashamed to return to his son. Lily listens, her eyes wide, as the pieces fall into place. The man she helped, the man everyone ignored, was someone's father, someone's past. James's gratitude is palpable. He looks at Lily, a girl who gave what little she had, and sees something rare, a heart untouched by the world's cynicism. "Why did you help him?" he asks, echoing Thomas's question from days before. Lily shrugs, her voice small but firm. "He needed it, and I had something to give." The simplicity of her answer hits James hard. The camera lingers on his face, then hers, as the weight of her words sinks in. The village is abuzz now, the story of Lily and Thomas spreading like wildfire. The camera pans across the crowd, capturing their awe, their pride, their realization that something extraordinary is happening. James stands, helping Thomas to his feet, and turns to Lily. "You have done more than you know," he says, "and I am going to make sure you are taken care of." The music swells, carrying a promise of change, of hope, of a future Lily never dared to dream of. As the sun sets, the camera pulls back, showing Lily, Thomas, and James standing together in the fading light. The village, once just a backdrop to their struggles, now feels alive with possibility. Lily's heart is racing, her mind spinning with questions. What does this mean for her? For her dream? The audience is left on the edge of their seats, knowing the story is far from over, but feeling the warmth of something beautiful taking shape. The village has never felt so alive. The camera opens on a crisp morning, the sun casting a golden glow over the fields, where children chase each other, their laughter echoing through the air. The market bustles with its usual energy, but there is a new warmth to it, a sense of unity that was not there before. Lily's story has become the heartbeat of this place, a reminder that even in hardship, something beautiful can grow. The camera pans across the familiar streets, now dotted with small changes, a freshly painted schoolhouse, a new water pump in the square, and faces that seem just a little brighter. Lily, now 13, walks through the village with a different kind of confidence. The camera follows her as she carries a satchel instead of her old flower basket, her school uniform neatly pressed. Her dream of education is no longer a distant hope but a reality. She attends the village school, where she is learning to read and write, her eyes lighting up with every new word she masters. The camera zooms in on her sitting at a wooden desk, her pencil scratching across a notebook, her face a mix of focus and quiet joy. She is still the same Lily, humble, kind, but there is a spark in her now, a belief that the world might hold more for her than she once thought. The scholarship fund James established in her name has already begun to change lives. The camera shows other children, some younger, some older than Lily, carrying books, their faces eager as they head to school. A boy who once helped his father sell fish now dreams of becoming a doctor. A girl who used to weave baskets is learning math, her laughter filling the classroom. The ripple effect of Lily's kindness is visible in every step they take, every dream they dare to chase. The music swells gently, a soft piano melody that carries hope without overpowering the scene. At home, Lily and Martha have settled into their new house. The camera lingers on the small, sturdy structure, a far cry from the leaky shack they once called home. Martha tends a tiny garden out front, her hands still strong as she plants herbs and vegetables. Lily helps her after school, the two of them laughing as they pull weeds, their bond deeper than ever. The camera captures a quiet moment, Martha brushing a strand of hair from Lily's face, her eyes filled with pride. "You have done more than you know, child," she says, her voice thick with emotion. Lily smiles, but she is still getting used to being seen as more than just the orphan girl. Thomas, too, is finding his way. The camera shows him in the village, no longer by the crumbling wall but helping at the school, sharing stories with the children. His clothes are simple but clean, his face less gaunt, his eyes brighter. He is not the man he once was, but he is not the beggar anymore either. James visits often, their relationship slowly healing. The camera catches them sitting together outside the school, talking quietly, their laughter tentative but genuine. Thomas tells James about Lily, about the coins, the flowers, the way she saw him when no one else did. James listens, his face softening, and the audience feels the weight of their reconciliation, a father and son finding their way back to each other. But the story is not just about Lily, Thomas, or James anymore. It is about the village, about the power of one small act to change everything. The camera pans across a community meeting, where villagers gather to discuss the future. James is there not as a billionaire but as one of them, listening as they share ideas for the scholarship fund, for new projects to lift the village up. A woman suggests a library, a man proposes a clinic. The camera captures their faces, hopeful, determined, inspired. Lily sits among them, her voice quiet but steady as she shares her own dream, a place where every child in the village can learn, no matter how poor they are. The emotional core of this part comes when Lily visits Thomas one afternoon. The camera follows her to the school, where Thomas is sweeping the courtyard, his movements slow but purposeful. She sits beside him, her satchel at her side, and asks a question that has been on her mind. "Why did not you tell anyone who you were?" she says, her voice curious but gentle. Thomas pauses, his hands resting on the broom. The camera zooms in on his face, lined with years of regret but softened by gratitude. "I did not think I deserved to be found," he says quietly, "but you reminded me I was worth something." Lily listens, her heart full. The camera captures their connection, a girl who gave without expecting anything, and a man who found redemption in her kindness. Thomas reaches into his pocket and pulls out the wilted flowers she gave him months ago, now pressed and preserved. "These meant more than you know," he says, his voice breaking. Lily smiles, her eyes shining with tears, and the music rises, a tender melody that wraps the moment in warmth. The village is changing, but so is the world beyond it. The camera shifts to the city, where James is back in his office, but he is different now. The photograph of him and Thomas is no longer hidden on his desk but framed on the wall, a reminder of what matters. He has started a foundation, inspired by Lily, to support children in poverty across the country. The camera shows him speaking at a gala, his voice steady as he tells Lily's story, not her name, but her spirit. "One girl, with nothing but a few coins and a kind heart, changed everything," he says. The audience in the gala applauds, but the real impact is felt in the village, where Lily's legacy is taking root. The story reaches its final moments at a village festival, months after the scholarship fund began. The camera sweeps across the scene, lanterns strung between trees, tables laden with food, children dancing to music played by local musicians. Lily is there, her school uniform traded for a simple dress, her laughter bright as she spins with other children. Thomas and James stand at the edge, watching her, their faces filled with quiet pride. The camera lingers on Lily as she looks up at the stars, her heart full of a joy she never thought possible. The voiceover returns, soft and reflective, as the camera pulls back to show the village glowing under the night sky. Lily gave what little she had, not knowing it would change her world. Her kindness did not just help one man, it lifted a village, reunited a family, and reminded us all that giving does not mean losing. Sometimes it is the start of everything. The music fades, leaving a gentle hum. As the screen darkens, the words lingering in the air. The final frame is a simple message, written in white text against a black background. "Be kind. You never know the lives you will touch." It is a call to action for the YouTube audience, a reminder that they, too, can make a difference, no matter how small their means. The story of Lily, Thomas, And James is over, but its impact lives on. In the village and in the hearts of those who've watched it unfold.